Hey parents and coaches, are your kids using the right glove? The most important skill for youth athletes to learn is how to play proper catch. The problem is, most youth gloves are made with bad leather and are too big for small hands. They actually make it harder to play catch. That's why former Major League Baseball shortstop Kevin Smith created Cali gloves. Cali gloves are crafted from 100% Japanese kip leather and are the perfect size for kids. All Cali gloves come with palm slits, finger loops, and elastic wrist lacing that encourage proper hand placement, the right closing patterns, and give kids more confidence to go make plays. Cali gloves even allow parents to break in the glove without stretching out the fit. It's the glove Kevin wishes he had growing up, and the glove all his teammates want for their kids. Visit caligloves.com to learn more and help your kids play better catch. That's Cali Gloves, K-A-L-I gloves.com.
Welcome to this week's edition of In the Clubhouse with EMD Baseball. I'm Andy Kirikides, joined by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Keith Glasser. How are we doing, sir?
Great. How are you?
Got a wonderful topic for today's discussion. This time of year, it always seems to rear its head, and I think it's a good time to talk about pitch counts as we get towards the summer. Seen some outrageous tweets about kids throwing 120 pitches on Monday and then coming back and throwing 75 on Thursday, and got us diving into some of these state policies around pitch counts. And I think we both have our issues with it, and I think we both have our thoughts on some things that people need to consider. So where do you want to start with this one, Coach?
Absurd pitch counts on short rest.
Yes.
I mean, I just don't. I'm at a loss, honestly. We don't, generally speaking, at the highest level of baseball in Major League Baseball, we don't. Those guys are throwing every fourth day. Now, the flip side to this is we're talking about grown men who this is their job to do this. They're built up to do this. There's a reason that pitchers and catchers report in February, a week before pretty much everyone else. And a good portion of these organizations have actually started doing stuff earlier in January with certain guys, depending on where they are in their throwing programs and what they need to be able to do in order to build themselves up for the season. There's a reason that they're on strict pitch count limits going into spring training. They're throwing split squads. There's a lot going on. So we're talking about grown men in their 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, some 40s that are out there who have been doing this for a really long time, and their bodies are built to do this. And let's be honest, they're the less than 1% that can go do this. And we have kids that are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old that are not built to do this. And we're throwing them 100 pitches on a Monday and then turning around and throwing them for 75 on a Thursday, because technically Monday counts as their rest day. So they had 3 days off. No, they didn't. They threw on Monday. They had 2 days off after throwing 100 pitches, and we ran them back out there for another 75. To be very clear, there are not, I would venture a guess to say, and I on this podcast, if you listen enough, I very rarely will speak in absolutes when it comes to this. I would almost guarantee that there's not a college coach in the country that is doing something of that nature with any arm on their staff. Now, the flip side to that would be, because I know there's going to be chirpers, if you're talking about playoff push or in the playoffs, different argument. The other side of that is, at that point in the year, we're also talking about more physically talented human beings. Guys are older, they're more mature, they've been in the weight room for X amount of years. They've also been built up to be able to handle that. They've been built up with that workload. They can go do that. You're not going to see that. It's infrequent in college. That's why I think when you see it in college, everyone blows their mind. You'll see it all over Twitter or X that everyone this guy threw 130 pitches. Remember the first it was opening weekend or second weekend. That kid went like CG against, I think it was Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like a senior who like dealt it out. They ended up almost losing the game. He went like 8 2/3, like 135 pitches.
Yes.
Like he's a senior who is built up. He's probably not playing professional baseball. And the kid is dealing against Arkansas. Let it roll. What's the worst that happens? And that's a coach knowing his player and knowing what his kid is capable of doing. It's a completely different argument in the youth game because it happens in high school, it happens in summer ball, where like you're going to throw 50 on Saturday and then you're going to come back, or 50 on Friday, and you're coming back and throwing another 60 on Sunday. Like, what are we doing? You had a day off. Like, we're not built up to do that. We're like, what's your throwing program look like throughout the course of the week? Are you even throwing? Are you long tossing? Are you doing your arm kick? Like, what does that look like? And I just think we blame a lot of arm injuries on once they get to where they are, right? And I think there's a very strong argument to be made that a lot of the stuff that I think is happening at the younger levels, and it's not just baseball, it's not just the games, right? I don't want this to make it sound like it's just the high school coaches or just the travel, like it's the facilities too. It's the not shutting down. I mean, there's 14, 15-year-old kids that are throwing for 12 months a year for 2-3 years at a time. Like the wear and tear that's putting on a young body is eventually going to be irreversible. So like at some point, it can't just, and I know we're going to talk about pitch counts, but that has to factor into the equation as well. Is that we're asking kids to do things that they're physically not capable of doing yet. And then being like, oh, I don't know why I got hurt. Well, I could probably give you a pretty good guess as to what happened. So like, yes, it's pitch counts, but I think it's a multitude. I think it's a multi-layered, multifaceted argument that you can make. But I think the center and the crux of this podcast, before we get derailed like we did in last week's, is that some of this pitch count stuff it needs to be legitimately followed, tracked, whatever it is.
If you're the parent of a high school baseball player with college aspirations, you already know the recruiting process can feel overwhelming. Endless showcases, nonstop emails, and big promises with very little clarity. That's why we recommend Diamond College Showcase Camps, the nation's premier academic baseball showcase. At Diamond College Showcases, every college coach in attendance is there with a purpose: to coach, instruct, evaluate, and recruit. Every player is seen, every player is engaged, and every family leaves with a clear understanding of where they truly stand. This is not a mass camp. College coaches run the drills, evaluate every athlete, and provide honest professional feedback that you can trust. Diamond College Showcase Camps are built for serious student athletes who value both baseball and academics. If you're looking for transparency, clarity, and a recruiting experience that respects your time and your player's future, Diamond College Showcase is the place to be. To learn more, visit diamondcollegeshowcase.com.
Yeah. And I think what I come back to is that 10 years of coaching in college, high school coaches, travel ball coaches ask their players to do things that we wouldn't ask our college guys to do, with turnaround times, pitch counts, rest days, playing multiple positions. And I think that's kind of the crux of it for me is seeing it and being able to kind of go back and be like, well, the rules say that he threw. Like, I'm looking at the rules right now. I'm looking for every single state. Like California, if you throw between 31 and 50, you have to take a day off. If a guy threw 50 pitches on Friday, there's a really good chance that kid doesn't throw for the rest of the weekend in college. Maybe he comes back for a short outing on Sunday, but you're also talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old guys who have been training to be bullpen arms, right? The bounce back. I think that's where I have the biggest issue is these short turnarounds where kids, you throw 30 on, you throw 50 on Tuesday, and then you come back and throw another 50 on Friday because the rules say that he got enough rest. Well, I think the rules are piss poor when you take a look at it, where in California, if you throw 110 pitches, which is the cap, you're technically allowed to come back and throw 3 days later. There's no big leaguer on the planet who throws on 3 days rest. College guys, college starters who throw 100 pitch, college starters throw every 6th day. And they will throw anywhere from 85 to 110-ish pitches in an outing. If you get to 110, you probably dealt it out pretty good. So that's what we ask college guys to do that.
Just to add context to that, like 2 parts. One, your bullpen arms that are going back to back in college, whether it's back to back days or a day off, you throw on Friday, you're off Saturday, you throw Sunday. That's a known thing, and what I mean by that is we've done that in practice. Like, we've gone and been like, okay, we're gonna throw, it's a light tempo, whatever it is, but it's more like, let's see if we can do this and see how we feel. I'm not going to put you in a position to throw 50 pitches on Friday and I'm bringing you back tomorrow to throw another 50. Like, hey, let's throw 15, 20 pitches today. Let's see how our arm feels tomorrow. If it feels good and you throw, like, you want to get off a bullpen and see what it feels like, let's see what it feels like. If it's sore, hey man, we ain't doing it. But maybe we'll try again on Sunday and see if we can do it. Because there are guys who can do that. So we work within those kind of that realm and work with that to see who can and who can't do it. And the other part I want to add context to is, let's say our Friday guy, Andy, you and I are coaching. Our Friday guy goes 110, deals it out. He's supposed to start again on Friday. Let's say on Thursday, he's like, yo, I'm kind of sore. Like, could I get an extra day? And our Saturday guy was, through 85 and feels great. Like, hey man, we'll flip it for this weekend. You can get an extra day. We'll throw you on Saturday and we'll start him on Friday. Is it perfectly ideal? No, depending on the situation that we're in. But the priority is to keep your arms safe. So if he needs an extra day, we're going to do everything it is to get him an extra day and work with it so that, hey, if you need one extra day, yeah, man, you'll throw on Friday. You'll throw Saturday instead of Friday. And the hope is that we can, he can deal it out again and we have a big lead and we can get him out of there a little bit earlier so that we can get him back on track to throw on Friday. But you're always worried about keeping your arms safe.
I mean, you're seeing
once you get to the collegiate level.
You're seeing it in college baseball this past week, right? When you got all these conference tournaments. If you're name whatever, like what, Virginia Tech, right? They played early in the ACC tournament. Coach Sheff didn't bring their Friday guy back on 3 days rest so he could throw game 1 of the ACC tournament. Like,
no,
so we're doing this stuff at the college level where you're trying to keep guys healthy, and it's fine tuned. Those guys know exactly what they're going to do every single day. They have high intensity day, low intensity days leading up to the days they're going to throw. You cannot convince me that a high school kid or during travel ball that these kids are doing that.
And I think the other side of it too is another peek behind the veil. Like, you're talking about the SEC and ACC, and of all the tournaments started on Tuesday, none of those Friday guys came back, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming none of those Friday guys came back and threw on Tuesday. My point is that they were having conversations leading up to into that last conference weekend of okay, depending on how this weekend goes, this would be our plan on Tuesday. So I would like to not throw Andy if we don't have to absolutely win a game, because I would prefer that he starts on Tuesday. If we have to, then, and you run all these scenarios out to be okay, if this happens, then we go Andy is penciled in as our starter unless we absolutely need him this weekend. And then we're going to try to not use you so that we can throw you on Tuesday. And then Wednesday we would throw whoever. And like you plan all of this stuff out so that you act like it's not a fly by the seat of your pants. Okay, we're playing on Tuesday.
Oh,
What
we
do
are.
we do now?
Yeah, nobody's winging it. Nobody's
No.
like, you go into a game, you got and this is a little peek behind the veil, and we'll get back to the pitch count stuff because I kind of have like a request that I want to make to the universe out here. But when you go into a weekend and you go into a Friday, you have a game plan before you get in there. It's not just like you're not flying by the seat of your pants in the fifth inning. Like you've sat down with your coaching staff and gone, all right, if so and so gets us into the sixth and we have a lead, who are we going to?
Yeah.
Who's got the eighth? Who's got the ninth? Are we willing to burn our closer until Sunday and give him the eighth and ninth if we got a chance to win this game? If our starter goes out early, who's going to wear it? Like who's going to come in and need to bridge the gap until the seventh and see if we can get back in the ball game, and then maybe like you game plan all these scenarios throughout the weekend. So Friday you do it, and then on Saturday it's like, all right, well, this guy's red. He's not throwing. He doesn't get up. He's not going down to the bullpen. He's not even putting his freaking spikes on today. He ain't throwing. These are the guys that are hot. These are the guys that threw in the bullpen the previous day but didn't come in the game. So that dude warmed up and threw 26 pitches in the bullpen yesterday. He's probably only good for one inning today. This isn't these coaches aren't flying by the seat of their pants. Players are throwing in very specific situations. Their workload is being monitored very closely. And obviously the goal is to win the game, but the other side effect of it is like you need to keep your guys healthy. You can't be burning guys out, especially if you think you're going to play for a little while. And I see it happen every summer with travel ball where coaches try too hard to win. And it hurts me to say that because winning is fun and winning is like what this should all be about. But the reality is for 95% of the games you play during travel baseball, the goal is to get your kids exposure and help them get better at baseball and not to try to win the Firecracker Classic on 4th of July weekend. Parents, if you've ever felt overwhelmed trying to navigate youth sports, there's a new resource designed just for you, Team Match. Team Match is an online platform built to streamline how families find the right youth sports teams by location, sport, and skill level, all in one place. It also provides a safe, organized space for kids to share their accomplishments, stats, and highlights while giving coaches and teams a clear way to connect with athletes who are the right fit. Less searching, less stress, more confidence in the process. Youth sports just got simpler for families. This is Team Match. Check it out today at teammatchsports.com. If you can win that tournament, awesome. Like, good on you. But if winning that tournament comes at the expense of starting a guy on Thursday and having him throw 75 pitches and then bringing him back on Sunday night to try to win the championship game and having him throw another 40 pitches, like you've missed the point.
Mm-hmm.
And that kid might not get hurt in the moment. And he may not get hurt that summer, but at some point that's going to catch up to that kid. And you're likely hurting them in the evaluation process because if a coach comes and sees him throw on short rest and his velo's down 4 miles an hour, there's some coaches who are just going to go, hey, man, I'm not coming back to see that kid. He wasn't sharp. He didn't command the ball. Velo was down. And that's your first impression of a kid. So I think that travel ball coaches have a responsibility to make sure kids aren't being overthrown. And there's some organizations that do a fantastic job of it. And they will not waver. And they'll send out their rosters and their game plan for the first 4 games of a tournament, and they'll say, hey, so-and-so's throwing 3, another guy's throwing 3, and then another guy's throwing 1. They're throwing on Friday. They're not coming back for the rest of the tournament. So if you want to see them, that's when you're going to see them. And hats off to those organizations because I think they get it. And I think they understand they have a responsibility to these kids for their development and their health. The rules and the regulations for pitch limits and tournaments and at the high school level, for me, I think they're flawed. And if you have experience in this game, you shouldn't be leaning on the rules because of the rules. You should be leaning on what you know anecdotally is the right thing to do. If a kid throws 50 pitches, he needs more than a day of rest.
Yes.
If a kid throws 100 pitches, he needs more than 3 days of rest. I don't care what the rules say. And I don't care about your high school state championship. I don't care about, whatever random tournament that you're playing in during the summer. If a kid throws 100 pitches on Friday, he shouldn't throw until the next tournament.
Nope.
And full stop. End of conversation. That kid doesn't get brought back on Monday night. Period. And parents, I think they need to have some feel for this. I think they need to understand this. And it's not hard to find pretty good information. And just kind of back it out and have like an understanding of what volume looks like, what stress looks like, and be able to read kind of the tea leaves. And like, hey, if your son throws 75 pitches on a Friday, that coach shouldn't ask him to come back and throw in that tournament again. And if he does, shame on that coach. But as a parent, you need to understand enough that, like, trust me, that second outing isn't going to move the needle.
Nope.
Having full rest and being able to throw well the following weekend is how kids get better. It's how they enjoy it. And you're not even factoring in that some of these guys are going to throw 100 pitches on Friday and then they go out and play freaking shortstop on Saturday.
Yeah. And then you wonder why your velo's down, and you wonder why, every time I've seen him 85, 87. Well, he's 78 to 81 right now. How many pitches is he throwing? What's he been doing? It's not to say that you can't play multiple positions.
But
That's
it's just,
not what.
yeah, like give that
Driving
kid a day off. Let him DH. Like,
Yeah.
I just think for travel ball and high school too. Yes, you're trying to win games, and winning is important, right? And in college, winning is the only thing that matters. But your responsibility is to do right by the kid. And I think some of the parameters that have been put in place, I don't think that they're effective. And coaches need to be able to make reasonable, logical, informed decisions on how they handle kids. And, you might have to punt that Sunday game and get rolled because you ran out of pitching. I'm sorry. Go find more pitchers to throw for you. I don't know what to tell you. But I really hope I don't see much of it this summer. I do think it's gotten better. Broadly speaking, I do think it's gotten better, but I'm sure we'll definitely run into it where we're out watching guys and we'll see a guy on a Thursday throw a bunch of pitches and we'll come back to the field and be like, that kid's throwing again? But sorry, soapbox it a little bit, but I'm passionate about this because I think it's such an easy fix. I think egos need to get set aside, and the only thing that should matter is the health of the kid and the success of the kid and the development of the kid. Period. That's it. If you start there, these are all really easy decisions. Anything else you want to add to that, Coach? Do you want to say that when you're not on mute?
Yeah, I do. That's it. Thought for sure I was not on mute. I haven't been on mute all night.
All right. Yeah, so parents, pay attention. Travel ball coaches, high school coaches, if you're listening, that players' health and development's got to come first. I think it's really that simple. So, tune in next week. We'll have more to talk about. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thank you for listening this week. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and smash that like button for us. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at EMD Baseball. If you want to find out what me and Keith do to help families and players navigate the recruiting process, go ahead and check us out on emdbaseball.com. Take a few minutes to check out our new online academy. I promise you'll get some good information out of that. Thanks again for listening. Check in with you next week.